I come to you today with a painful question. Ndi Igbo claim that they are succeeding across the world. If it is true, why is Ala Igbo not yet carrying the full evidence of that success? Why do our villages, streets, institutions, and communities still struggle to reflect the greatness of our people? Today, I bring you an Igbo top diplomat who has seen Ndi Igbo across the world. Hear me ask him this painful question and listen to his answers. Igbos are blessed with gifted people, globally traveled men of diverse experience. You are one of them, Your Excellency, and it's a pleasure to welcome you in our studio. Now, all this greatness, all these things that I said about the success of Igbos globally, how do we make that quality, which is formed at home, to change our environment? Look at our streets, look at our villages, look at our places. Do they come anywhere near those global environments you have traveled to? Are you proud of what you see when you come home? So what have you learned across the world that can be useful to the sons and daughters of Igbo land?
Was in Nigeria Foreign Service for 33 years of my life and just exited December. I'm looking for where do I go from there? And in the course of my service, because as a young foreign service officer, you go first to work as officers in various countries, working in embassies. I worked in Ghana, I worked in South Africa, I worked in Portugal, I worked in America as a deputy consul general. Each time I talk about my career, I always mention the little stint I had as the director of protocol to a former first lady that exposed me to what leadership, governance, and public service entails when I was in China as a consul general in Shanghai. Just to ensure that the interest of Nigerians are covered. So you have consulates headed by ambassadors to cover the interest, promote and strengthen the interests of both countries. So I was in Shanghai for 3.5 years. And each time I talk about my experience in Shanghai, I remember it was in China that I saw firsthand what patriotism is all about. In China, is it Guangzhou, is it Shanghai? There's no part of this globe I've been, you don't meet an Igbo man. We are all over the globe. And what stands us out? Adaptability.
Adaptability.
Hard work. Ingenuity. Commitment. I give it to Igbo people. And when I got to Australia in 2021, March, little did I know that even in that far away, they call it down under, Igbo men everywhere.
Igbo men were
everywhere.
Wow.
Doctors, nurses, teachers. You see, when we say it, that Igbo man loves traveling, we are creative, we like taking risks, and anywhere we are, we like making impacts. Thousands of Nigerians, Igbos especially, I met in Australia, shaped my impression about who we are. We're talking about hard work, we're talking about adaptability, we're talking about people that want to, anywhere they are, they don't hide. They will join in building and helping. They don't hide. Even if not outside Nigeria, even in Nigeria here, is there any part of this part of the world that an Igbo man is not found? If you go there, if you don't find an Igbo man, you run away. I remember they say, far away Kawura Namuda. You must find an Igbo man. Having a chemist shop, being a mechanic, selling spare parts. And that's about adaptability. That's about believing in hard work. That's about knowing that Igbo man doesn't believe in begging. He won't beg. He will go and work there for whatever he's doing. Whatever we are doing, we like doing it well.
Yeah.
Stand out. That is the Igbo man I want to talk about. Thank you.
This is the foundation of the conversation. The Igbo person is not absent from the world. The Igbo are indeed present, visible, hardworking, adaptable, successful, and productive across the world. Well, there are so many reports, incidents regarding Igbo people abroad. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Sorry, I'm not interjecting. I don't want to accept so many reports because I don't believe in stereotyping. In every situation, you have the good, you have the bad, which cuts across all facets of human dignity, human races.
Yes.
Not just an Igbo man. I don't totally agree.
Fantastic.
Are you talking about, is it in South Africa? All Nigerians are there. Even when I was in China, you see Chinese that are criminals. Part of it is, how does the press report these things?
So one of our failings is the inability to tell our story.
Inability to tell our story the way it is. No. We are unique, hardworking, ingenious, creative, good human beings. That's how I look at an Igbo man. We are not criminals and we should not be tapped to be so. The same thing in America. I remember when I was in the US. There's a verifiable statistics that came out that said out of every 4 Nigerians, 3 has a second degree. And most of these Nigerians are talking about Igbo people in America. Whereas out of every average for America, it's only 1 has a second degree.
Wow.
It's verifiable. So it's not about Ndi. It's about we are there. We don't hide. Because we don't hide, they always see. Another part of it is that the Igbo man, due to our nature of being visible, at times they say we are too visible. But it's our nature. We can't hide. Hard work. Anything we want to do, we want to champion it, we want to be there. So in most cases, they misunderstand. The Americans, foreigners, blah, blah, blah. Whereas if we've made conscious effort to bring them together,
they will meet each other and create relationships.
Increasing in our numbers and promoting the Igbo-ness in us. So we should, from this onwards, we should begin to make conscious efforts so that not just parents having these meetings, also our children should have a platform. They meet.
For them to meet.
We'll talk, we'll advise them for these things to begin to,
Wow. This is serious. Ambassador Nkemakonam Madubike is saying that the question is not just are Ndi Igbo doing well. The question is whether they are reported and seen as doing well. People who do not tell their own story will be described by others. The global achievements of millions of Ndi Igbo will be hidden as long as Ndi Igbo are only seen through the mistakes of a few Igbo persons. Telling the Igbo story, telling it well, has become as important as the Igbo people doing well itself. Okay, now, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Australia, Ghana, China,
South Africa,
Portugal.
That's where.
America, right?
Yes.
Any difference in the way they treat the Igbo people?
Like I said before, for any migrant, you're looking at what are the do's and don'ts in those countries. The only way any group of people stands out or singled out is that when you violate their laws. I don't think so.
Yeah, but even in positive, I'm not looking at only negative. There's this historic report during the slave trade that how the name Oyibo, the white man became Oyibo, is that they were looking for Onyibo. So if you bring a slave, this one Onyibo. So they said that's how Oyibo came. Because they are asking the people, this one, is it Ndigbo?
Okay. They say when you have a naughty or difficult situation, look for an Igbo man. We always stand out in such situations. And our people are smart. They can take risks. They're sharp. They adapt. So I know I've witnessed it. Okay. Will it shock you to tell you in Australia, when I presented my letters of credence, I saw an Igbo lady, one of the caterers in the government house. State so now I'm very serving. I said, how? I said, yes. They come to do, they've accepted them. In Governor General's home, a government house in Australia. That's who the woman is. I was so proud to be one. And it will not be out of place for me to put it here.
The next powerful challenge for Ndigbo across the world is loudness. Visibility can become a strength, but loudness can create a misunderstanding. If Ndigbo are everywhere, then the next assignment is not to reduce our visibility, but to discipline it, organize it, and use it positively for dignity, influence, and development.
So that's who we are. We are unique. That uniqueness, let's always use it in a positive way.
Fantastic.
Our uniqueness, let's always use it
in a positive way.
Humble Me was singled out to be appointed High Commissioner of Nigeria to Australia and the Pacifics. So leaders should first of all be honored by having the privilege to represent your country in whatever capacity. Our leaders should fear God. Our leaders should also realize that whatever you put out there as a leader is going to speak for you when you leave that place, even if it's after 20 years, because one day you must leave. That's what is going to speak for you. Lastly, if you have a good road, the good road does not discriminate against the rich and the poor. It serves everybody. But overall, like I said, the Igbo man is hardworking. He's a team player. Very friendly. You can quote me. It's only an Igbo man here. I remember when I was in Ghana. The immigration officer will go looking for foreigners from room to room. Have you heard in Nigeria where anybody is looking for foreigners? Nobody has time. That's who we are. The woman here, I have met some Northern Yoruba brothers who say, oh, Igbo man is different. We accept foreigners. Look at my brother here. He's from Ugep. Would you know he's from Ugep? He's from the same room from me today. He's my brother. For how many years? I knew him when I was, 18 years? But I'm sisters I'm talking to. So I knew him over 40 years. So that's the Igbo man we are. We are open, we are accommodating, we are friendly, we are team players.
Fantastic. I feel like breakdancing, makes you feel really good being an Igbo person. Now, you have been to almost every part of the world with various levels of development. You've been to Africa, you've been to Europe, you've been to America, you've been to Asia. And in all those locations, Igbo people are there. Apart from these qualities that you mentioned, is there something you think makes us able to brave the world in this way?
I think that's who we are. We believe in breaking new grounds. We are adventurous. We are hardworking.
So that impulse for adventure, that go and win.
And we are outgoing.
Outgoing mentality.
You remember, in Southeastern here, half of us are not in our states.
Yes.
Most of us are outside our states and overseas. That's the Igbo man. We like going out. We like working with other people. We embrace the world. We believe in globalization. I don't know how else to say. Is it in America? You see a big house, you won't believe it, owned by an Igbo man. Is it Australia? The first thing the Igbo man will do is, I want to own my house. That's who we are. And before he owns that one there, he already has one in Enugu, Onisha, Aba. That's Igbo man. These things are there. And that's why at times when our brothers and sisters say they don't understand it, they say we are overreaching. I don't think so. It's our nature.
But why is it that all these great successes that the Igbos report as individuals does not seem to have that kind of effect in our region? Would you consider our region at par? Can you say that the successes Igbo people have achieved across the world, that our region can tell that story of their successes?
Not just about the Igbo man particularly, but it's about the whole country.
But I'm interested in the Igbo man in this discussion.
Yeah, in this discussion, you see the disconnect in terms of the Igbos in diaspora.
Yes.
As an ambassador out there, they always tell you they don't so much trust their leaders here. And you find out that most of the repatriation of their revenues are done from individuals to families. They're not accounted for publicly. And you know that an Igbo man, the first money he makes, the first thing he wants to do is to go and build a house in the village. He thinks of home first. Before Enugu, before Aba, he thinks of village first. And of course, for you to be a respected man in Igbo land, again went on.
Yeah, of course.
Again went on. He also get we're not talking about apprenticeship now.
Yeah. This is the heart of the whole discussion. Ndi Igbo have money, talent, exposure, and personal influence in the global space. But without trust, organization, accountability, and credible leadership, private success will not automatically become public development. The village house alone cannot build the homeland.
It looks as if there's a disconnect between the state and the individual diasporans. But the good thing is that we have an agency under the federal government in charge of diasporans, which they're working, but we are not there yet. So I would agree with you. There's still so much work to do, because what they are doing out there. You remember, there's a time we had a story about an Igbo man being, of course, in Parliament in UK, Parliament in Canada, an Igbo man manufacturing computer software, some even doing something about private jets. We've done so much there, but the impact back home is not noticed as we are talking about. I totally agree. But I'm sure with little time and with the efforts we are seeing now our leaders are making, that gap will likely be closed in the coming years.
This conversation leaves us with pride and responsibility. Ndigbo have shown capacity across the world, hard work, courage, adaptability, intelligence, and enterprise. But global success is not enough if it does not return home as trust, organization, leadership, and development. Ala Igbo must not only produce great individuals, Ala Igbo must begin to feel the power of organized Igbo greatness. Tell us in the comment section, what must Ndi Igbo fix first? Leadership, trust, unity, security, or organized investment at home? Share this video with every Igbo person at home and abroad, and follow Ndi Igbo Viva for more conversations on Igbo identity, dignity, and development.